show is called Notes from the Road. I have a lot of questions about being on the road and touring and your tour bus and stuff like that. So I'm curious, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you actually enjoy being on the road as opposed to being home?
I'd say 10. But it's not really.
Sorry, give me a
yeah. In terms of how much I enjoy being on the road, I would give it a 10. I wouldn't say that I like necessarily one more than the other, because one of the great things that I like about what I do is the variation, going back and forth. But definitely being on the road is an incredible thing to me. It's kind of what it's all about, for me. There's a recording process which is also important and amazing, but the shows being, the way that I see it, like with the shows, is that every night you have like the responsibility and the chance to try to create something real, try to make something really happen, and so that's the importance of doing those shows, and it's a huge learning experience. It's a huge growing experience. When we're on the road, we record the shows. So we do a show, and we listen back the next day. We try to see where things worked and where things didn't. We try new things every single night. We never play the same songs in a row. We never play the same songs the same way. Every night we change. Like we'll play certain songs for 10 minutes. Certain songs will stop. Sometimes someone will just start playing something in between a song. We'll go into that for something we've never done for 5 minutes and build it into something and then go into a song. So we always try to keep things like fresh. What I realized from touring a lot over the course of probably the last 5 years was that that's mandatory, for an artist, that you can't go out there night after night and try to reproduce the same effect and the same show. And that's how a lot of people see it. They see it as like a product, just like a CD is going to sound the same way out of each CD player or whatever, but that's not what live music is about, So we've kind of, what I've come to is like, getting musicians first of all, and getting my organization to realize the importance of making sure that the music is the number one priority, and being open enough and relaxed enough to like allow the music to go places, and so yeah, that's that. The music.
All right, 2 songs then. King.
So King Without a Crown was one of the first songs that I wrote, and I was still in yeshiva. I had been there for almost about 2 years, and friends of mine had introduced me to a producer in Philadelphia who had a studio, he had a home studio, a nice studio, and I told him, can I come down? How much would it cost for me to record something there? I came down with this. There was a melody that I had been thinking, and I sang him the melody, and he played it, and we built the beat there, and we just built the track there, and then. In about maybe 12 minutes, I wrote the lyrics for the song. And the lyrics were basically like, I don't know, I guess now I look back on it, if you read it without the music, it'd probably sound like a self-help book. But it was basically, the ideas and some of the teachings and that I had kind of experienced in the process, since I was a teenager up until this point. And it kind of came out of me like a flash, because I hadn't been listening to music or writing music for about 2 years. I was in yeshiva, and I was just learning Torah and using a whole different aspect of my brain that I had never been. No creativity really, So this was like I came to the studio and we wrote the song. They turned it on, the beat came, the music came on. I sat there, and in 12 minutes was just, And then I just went into the studio, and I sang it. And then I went back to yeshiva. And the yeshiva in the summertime leaves Brooklyn and goes to the Catskills. And they go to this, sort of this bungalow colony in the Catskills where we just, learn Torah in the country, I guess, And everyone's there together, the rabbis, their family, everyone eats together. It's like, and basically all summer I just would go like once a day, like at the sunset, and I would go with my headphones and listen to that song, And I would feel like, there was some sort of like spark, some kind of creative thing in me that like wasn't being fulfilled, and needed, and like that was still going to be the central thing in my life, that it needed to be about the music, and that's kind of, that was the song that eventually became King Without a Crown, that did really well on radio for us and stuff. So
we talked a little bit about your bus, but I want to know how tricked out is your bus? Do you have anything fancy, or is there anything that you would like to add to your bus?
Well, I'll tell you how tricked out my bus is. I have an air filter. It depends. Sometimes, like, for example, last summer we went out with 2 buses. So I had a bus with my wife, and I have 2 boys, and they all came out for the whole summer. So it was 3 months. So that was the family bus, and it was, kids, toys all over the place and cribs. The shower was made into a bedroom for the baby. The baby was like 1 year old, so the crib was in the shower stall. So we couldn't actually shower in the bus. We had to shower like at the venue or whatever. But that was like the safest place for it, and it was a small little area. So there's a crib there, and there's another crib next to the bed in the back, because they're like, the back of the bus it's a shorter living area because you don't have as many people on it. So the back is bigger. It's kind of like a hotel room, basically. It's like you have a bed, and but there's a crib there, and strollers, and kids' diapers, and, it's a disaster. Going on tour with your family is fun. It's fun as hell. My son, the older one, who was 2 at the time, we had little kids' drums for him, these little red drums, and we'd set him up on stage, and he'd play. And a couple of times we brought him out, on the center of the stage, and he's playing with the drummer behind him. He's like playing all the hits, and 2 years old, just the big headphones. So there's some things about it that's great. It's hard to be away from your family and stuff, but it's definitely hard to have, kids running around at all hours, in such a small space.